Hey you, how have you all been faring? It is almost July, half the year is almost over. Where has the time gone? Well, what's more important as of now, you still have about 4 weeks to get those character references updated because Artfight is around the corner. If you don't know about Artfight, this is not about any kind of drama or fighting in the art community. I'm not about that, it's just exhausting to me. Now, Artfight is an annual month-long event that has artists compete against each other in 2 teams by drawing fan art of each other's original characters. And depending on the number of characters in a piece, the level of polish, you can gather more points for your team too. When you draw fan art for somebody, that is called an attack, and if somebody uses that attack to revenge, they also get more points and stuff. And from what I've seen, there can be like real long chains of attacks and revenges. Pretty fun actually. Basically, any medium is allowed there, be that drawing, crafting, animation. I'm not sure if there is like an audio version of it as well. I haven't really looked into that part, given that I'm not usually one to make audio really well or at all, so I'm pretty diverse in the mediums you can use. It has been getting a lot more traction in recent years, so I figure you might have heard of it before. Last year I was a somewhat last-minute participant, so I'm still relatively new to it myself. At the time, I've had Kyo's reference sheet sitting half done on my hard drive for months, and the decision to take part in Artfight gave me the kick I needed to get it finished, as well as 5 more, since the main cast of Kyo's story consists of 6 major characters, all coming with their own flavor of trauma and sadness. Isn't that nice? What you see me drawing in this video is one such reference sheet from last year. This is how long I've been wanting to show this footage. It is for Ahira, who is my latest addition to the main cast, but also rounding it out very nicely. More on her later. For this year, I'll need to make some minor adjustments to some of the reference sheets and the write-ups I made for the characters. The character designs change from time to time, though in this case we're just missing some accessories and minor details. Even with the write-ups, there's not a lot to do. Things have been rather consistent over the last year. Can't say that is a given for all years. Once those are done, I'll probably just tag browse some characters to see which characters tickle my fancy. From what I hear, it is recommended to download a couple of references beforehand, as the site isn't too stable in the first 48 hours, due to some large amount of traffic it is getting. But in essence, I'm as ready as I'll ever be for this year's Artfight. Except, I need to tell every single one of you about my character still. See, this entire time, Artfight was just a pretense to talk about the kiddos I hallucinate into this world. Let's start with the one that started it all, Kyo. Kyo is an amnesiac who is washed ashore close to the port city of Durford. She spends about a month there, hoping her memories return eventually, but they never do. And spoiler, they never will. Then one day, a night hound comes to Durford and promptly implies Kyo might have been part of a skirmish the night hounds had with rogue mages. She can neither confirm nor deny that, given that she doesn't know either, but it turns out the night hound wasn't all that wrong. She has powers that are akin to magic. She finds that out when she runs into a rave and her powers are triggered as her life is in danger. So on her journey to find out who she is, she has to hide her powers, which may or may not be magic. Since I already mentioned the Night Hound, let's continue with him, Jonathan. Jonathan is a troubled man. In his youth he participated in a doomed campaign to reclaim a rave-infested territory and saw enough people torn to bits by those rave. He was recruited into the Night Hounds and became a hunter of both mages and rave. For that purpose he travels across the world. Sometimes he is given tasks by his order, but more often they just appear in front of him in form of requests made by the locals. His beliefs regarding magic is evil were challenged when his sister called him home to inform him that his nephew was indeed a mage and has been taken by one of the mage splinter groups that are still strewn about the land. And on that visit, Jonathan also dug up a lot of family secrets. So Jonathan's nephew is next on the list, Wallace. As a child, he had to hide his magical abilities until one frightful day, he was taken by a mage splinter group out to take revenge on the Night Hounds for the deaths of hundreds of mages in the past half-century. He's got an affinity for fire, which is rare. Only about 1 in 20 mages can safely handle flames. Even then, the safe part isn't necessarily a given if you hand a practically infinite lighter to a teenager. While Wallace has no issue hating on Nighthounds, he does draw the line at the plan of opening a second rift, when the first one already flooded the world with Wraith 60 years ago. It doesn't add up for him. In his not-so-clandestine leave-taking, he stumbles into Kasim, a man who wields magic Wallace has never seen before. Alarmed by the plan to open another rift, Kasim confronts the Splinter group head-on and is less than successful. But both he and Wallace make it out and are now out in the wind, hiding from both Nighthounds and mages. What a wonderful segue into Kasim! Kasim is a primordial being who calls himself a guardian, and as such he's powerful and has the ability to shapeshift, until he doesn't anymore. During the main story, he's stuck in a horse's body, but part of his primordial nature still comes through. He is shiny when he's using his powers. This is of course very unrelated to anybody else in the story. After that mishap with the mages, he and Wallace stay together. Kasim hopes to get more information from him about the mages' plans, but even though Wallace has a rare gift for fire magic, he was still but a small cog in the machine. Fortunately, Kasim has an ace up his sleeves, or caparison, his daughter Ayera. They do have a strange relationship, given that Ayera hasn't lived up to her father's expectations, even though she's very capable in her own right. She's got a knack for magic, but also knows how to get on without it. But all in all, she's a rather book-smart person, and she's rarely interacted with anybody outside her immediate family, so she can't quite place social cues. That makes her interacting with others a little awkward at times. And that leaves Navan as the last of the main cast. Navan is a Wraith. He was one of the first to step through the rift into this world, and thus also one of the first to be overwhelmed when it turned out that his species wasn't compatible with the conditions of this world. Like the others, he was overcome by a sense of hunger, which he describes as a constant screaming, but the Wraith discovered that inhabiting the dead dulled that screaming quite a bit. And thus Navan is wearing his fox suit. It's rather falling apart these days, but it's like that comfy sweater you don't want to get rid of. He meets Kyo when he is crazed by the hunger, and something she did quieted the aforementioned screaming to a whisper. A piece he is not known for over 60 years, so he sticks with her. And that is the main cast, in short. To be perfectly honest, I have had trouble writing all of this. It is not easy to know what to give away and what really constitutes as a spoiler when you're really immersed in everything at the moment. But on the one hand, you kinda need to give people some information so they can get to know the characters. On the other hand, spoilers. Let me know if you have these kinds of problems sometimes, cause I don't know, it makes talking about your original characters, about the stories you're currently working on, really hard. And sometimes I feel like when people talk about their stories, all of it sounds rather repetitive, but given the troubles I've had writing this and recording this, I can see why they do it like that. It's a funny thing, isn't it? I had also debated on whether or not to include more characters, some of which I've just unearthed from another long-shelved project, or even just more side characters from Kyo's story. But then I also kind of felt like I needed to focus on this story for myself and also for others, since the other characters that I've unearthed don't really have much of a visible backstory at this point. And no need to confuse people more, right? And at the bottom of each Artfight profile, you basically have 6 characters that are really visible at first, and every other character you would have to go into the character space of that profile. So I think it kind of works out to just have those 6. And I mean, they are most prevalent in my current work, so let's focus on these. Let me know what else you'd like to know about either my characters or Artfight. Artfight questions I'll answer in the comments right away, and if it isn't too much of a spoiler for the characters, I'll answer those questions as well. Otherwise, if you'd like to draw these characters for Artfight, I've got my profile linked here and in the description. I'll try to revenge to the best of my abilities. I just don't really know what to expect. Probably not a lot, but you know. Artfight is there to have fun, not be an extra burden, so we'll see how that balances out. So, happy Artfight, Kapla.